Multi-project kit clubbers, it's Demo Donna here with Sparkle and Sprinkle, and this month's multi-project kit club is going to be this really awesome pop-up mini album book. So super inspirational. You are going to learn how to do this, and I'm not going to show it all now. You got to watch the video and see how cool this is. All right, here it is, up close and personal, the pop-up mini album book, which I'm so excited to share with you, and I can't wait. I hope you guys go and post on the Sparkle and Sprinkle Challenge group all of your really cool creations. This is the front, Make-A-Wish, and we're using the stencils. We're using the washi tape, the really gorgeous papers by Kaiser Craft out of their 6.5 paper pad. And this is the Stargazer collection, which is brand new and just gorgeous. I took most of mine out to create my 2 books, but here you could see the cover of it. And then we are using Loyalty, as well as the Nouveau drops. These are the jewel drops, so they are the translucent drops, and the glitter accents. Also using a Kaiser Craft stencil and Demo Donna hands on my amazing craft mat. I'm so excited. I finally got the glass mat by Tonic Studio. If you have been wondering whether or not to pick this little bad boy up, I say 2 thumbs up, actually 2 thumbs up and a crafty thumb up covered in glitter. Go for it. So I'm going to show you the finished product, and then I'm going to walk you through a couple of the fun different techniques that I used in my mini album book. So here is, like I said, the front. We've got the stenciling, we've got the glitter paper, we've got a fun moon with the crystal drops, we've got the washi tape. Inside page 1, be happy in the moment, that's enough. Each moment is all we need, not more, Mother Teresa. So that's a cool little saying I wanted to throw in there. Stay wild, moon child. That is the second opening. The third opening, you are my sun, my moon, and all my stars. E.E. Cummings, and that is that page. And then the last one is you are so very loved. So really fun. I had such a great time creating this, and I know when I give it to my girlfriend for her very special birthday, she'll love it as much as I do. So now that you see our cool little book, and then we created these glitter twine tassels here that we're going to be tying our book together with. So I hope you enjoy. Like I said in the intro, if you have any questions for me, just let me know. Once you basically learn the foundation of how to create this, you can create a ton of these with all of your cardstock. Different color cardstocks would be fun. You are going to receive enough gray cardstock to create 2 books. And then you'll have more than enough materials and your beautiful paper pack by Kaiser Craft to actually create 2 books. All right, so what I did is I went ahead and I cut my cardstock, which you will be receiving in your kit, to 8.5 by 8.5. And the folding is really simple. You can go ahead and use a scoreboard if you want to score this, because I'm gonna whip this out pretty quickly. I'm just gonna fold it. So I'm gonna fold it in half, and then I'm gonna fold it in half again. I do like having a nice flat edge, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fold that, lift that up, fold it in half again, and that is the beginning of your fold. So you've got 2 folds, and I'm gonna go ahead and just fold it over so I have a nice straight line here. Now some larger scissors, but I have these, my Mini Snips are always handy, so I'm just gonna cut on one line here. So we have folded our 8.5 and 8.5 in 2/4. Trim that. And then I'm gonna take this side here. So I cut right here on the right side, my top left corner, I'm gonna fold at an angle. So just right up there to the edge, just like that. So now you are going to repeat this times 4. Once you've completed that, you are going to take this shape here and you are going to fold this in half. You are going to now fold up on that angle. I'm now going to bring this bottom right piece over. You are going to now apply your 1/4 inch Tear-ific tape, which comes in your kit. 1 and 2. And I'm gonna add a little 3 and 4. Now this is a mini album book, so you want really good strong adhesive. So I first did one with my adhesive roller, and unfortunately it wasn't strong enough, and my little edges as I was opening and closing it kind of popped off. So I highly recommend using really strong adhesive like our Tear-ific tape, because now you're going to get a permanent bond on your paper, and it's going to be able to tolerate the opening and closing and opening and closing when your BFF is checking out her book over and over again. So now that I've removed the backing from this piece, we're going to fold that top left right on top, just like that. And this is 1 page. So you see how that is this right here? So this is 1 piece of our book. So I am now going to do my other 3, and I'm gonna fast forward it, but go ahead and rewind back to this place if you need to watch this over and over again. So piece number 1, done. Piece number 2, and speed up. All right, now that you have all 4 pieces completed, we are going to glue those together. So I've got 1, you want to make sure all of your triangles are on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there we are, and look at hand folding them, and they're still all pretty much the same size. So now what we're gonna do is we are gonna tape this guy together, and these guys together to create our book. So I'm gonna show you the first one, and then once again, I'm gonna speed up the other one so you don't have to watch me do the same thing over and over again, because that's not exciting. So I'm gonna take my Tear-ific tape that comes in my kit, and I'm gonna do 1 strip, 2 strips, 3, and 4. And you're gonna get a lot more than this one. I have been using this little tiny one for a while. 4th piece, and peel off the backing. Like so. And then what I did is I just stuck my 2 together. So I've got them straight up. And just like that. So there is 2 of the 4 now, and then I'm going to adhere the rest of them together. All right, and here we go. We have our entire book assembled and all taped together using our Tear-ific tape. And now next we are going to take a small hole punch. I have my very lovely crocodile, And I'm gonna use the smaller hole punch here. And I am going to bring my two outer pieces together. So these are it's my cover, my two covers. And I'm just going to add a little hole punch. Now I also need to make sure this guy isn't on any other piece of paper to poke a hole. I know, speaking from experience, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and punch a hole centered a little more than 1/4 of an inch on my two covers, the front and the back. And that is where our tassels are gonna go. So you wanna make sure you get that out of the way before you glue all of your paper down. Okay, so now that we've created our really fun 3D book, all right, so once you have put your entire book together and your hole punches, it's now to get started on the fun stuff. So we are gonna create this really cool background using this awesome stencil from Kaiser Crafts, which comes in your kit. And we are also going to be using the Glitter Accents by Nuvo. So I am going to first start off by taking this little scrap here, and this isn't a scrap, sorry. This little piece cut from the Constellations cardstock, which come in your 12 by 12 pack. And this is the darkest paper. You can also use a black paper if you want to recreate this, but you'll have a ton of paper left over. So I'm gonna take my washi tape. You don't have to use the silver that comes in your kit. Basically, I'm just using this because it is a removable adhesive. So I am just taping this down, and then I'm gonna take my stencil. And sorry, the size on my piece of paper here is a 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So I went ahead and cut that out of my Constellation cardstock. You needed to know that. That's important information. Okay, so then you're gonna go ahead and tape your stencil down. Now this is another amazing feature about the craft mat is you have this little removable craft mat on your glass mat. So it's really great for wet mediums, which makes a project like this fantastic because you can go from one side to the other and you still have a ton of workspace. So I'm gonna take my Glitter Accents, which comes in your kit, and the stencil and the cardstock. I've used a lot of it. And I'm just gonna squeeze a good amount down, just like that. And then now I am going to take my very well-loved palette knife and move my little pencil over. There we go, and just scrape that through. If you need a little bit more on, you could squeeze a little bit more out. It doesn't have to be perfect if I don't make it all the way to the bottom of my stencil. But if you want to make sure it's completely covered, like I said, you could squeeze a little bit more on and just rub it through. Now, because you're applying a pretty thin layer, it's gonna dry pretty quickly. So you wanna make sure you clean your tools right away. So my palette knife and my stencil, I wanna make sure I clean that up right away using a baby wipe or under the sink. So I am going to peel this off and set this aside to let that dry. But isn't that beautiful? You've got the texture going on here, you've got the glitter, and you've got the really cool pattern showing in the background. So I'm gonna set that aside. And then to clean up my surface here, I'm just gonna scrape that up, scrape that off my stencil, and now I've still got a good amount of my Glitter Accents here on my palette knife. So I'm gonna take another 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 dark piece of cardstock from my paper pack, and I am going to do a little edging around here, just something super organic to give a little bit of glitter to the paper. You can even set it down and spread it out. And I really like that like stucco look. So just like that, and now I'm gonna let that dry as well. And you can make a couple of these. You're going to want to repeat this process twice, so you have a front and a back of your book. So once you have completed all of that, like I said, you need to clean your tools off right away. All right, so the next thing you're gonna wanna do is take your leftover pieces of your gray cardstock when you cut out your 8.5 by 8.5 to make your pop-up album book. And I'm gonna take my silver washi tape, and basically I am just going to do 3 strips across my cardstock just like that to create like a mirror cardstock look. And then what I'm going to do is take, this is the 3rd smallest on the circles, on the circle dies from Tonic Studio. And this is a 1 3/4 inch circle. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out. Obviously you can use your actual washi tape to trace around if you don't have a die cut machine, or you can use something similar in size if you don't have this particular die. But I went ahead and cut that out, and then I have my glossy moon background, and I'm simply going to take a little bit of my glitter accents, and I'm just gonna squeeze some out, just like so. And then I'm gonna do a pouncing motion with my finger to create like a very natural texture to my little moon surface. And then you don't have to worry about the lines from the washi tape. They're not going to be as noticed. All right, so you have your little moon. This is gonna take a little bit longer to dry because it's a glossy surface. So I went ahead and made one in advance. This is nice and dry, and this is gonna be really fun for layering on the cover of my book. So now we have all of your wet pieces completed. We are next going to work on creating our glitter tassel out of the Loyalty glitter and the 1/4 inch Tear-ific tape. So this is a really fun little project and definitely adds that little bit of flair to our album. But if you want to skip this part and just do some twine or something simple, you can go ahead and do that too. You know, simple is not something that most of us crafters dive into. We like to keep it nice and sparkly. All right, so I'm gonna take, this is about 5 inches of my 1/4 inch Tear-ific tape. I peeled the backing off somewhat, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and roll that onto itself. So if you've ever seen me make the glitter twine, this is the same thing. So then I'm gonna go ahead and dip that into my Loyalty glitter. Try to avoid touching the tape to the coffee filter because it will stick. And then to burnish it, I'm just twisting it back onto itself. So just like so. All right, now I made a couple extra pieces of my twine so I can make my little glitter tassel. And I am going to still leave this guy out. We're gonna take my Mini Snips, and I am doing, this is about 2 inches, about 1.5 inches and folding it over. So whatever size you like. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but I know you all like the most particular measurements so you could recreate it exactly. So this is about 1 3/4 inches. So I'm gonna do 2 1 3/4 inch pieces of my glitter twine, and I'm gonna fold those in half to create my glitter tassel. Fold those right in half, and then I'm gonna come over here to my original 5-inch strip of glitter twine, just like that. And you can either use your 1/4 inch and just cut a small little strip. I'm gonna go ahead and use a little piece of my 1/8 inch Tear-ific tape. It's so nice to have a black or a white background so you guys can see the lighter things on the darker background and the darker things on the lighter background. Just thought I would share that. Okay, so I am rolling my 1/8 inch right here around the top of my tassel. Just like that. And now the only thing remaining for my tassel to be complete is add some glitter to that exposed 1/8 inch tape. So I just rolled that in there. And you can also, if you have any sticky tips from trimming off the edge, you can just dip the tips into the glitter, burnish that together. And now I have 2 little tassels completed, ready for both of my ends. All right, we are now going to start working on the cover of our book. So I'm gonna start with my first tassel and putting it through. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of Tear-ific tape and just put that right down there. And then I went ahead and my covers, the front and the back, are going to be the same. So this cardstock here is the Milky Way cardstock. It's got this print on the back. Really beautiful. You get 2 sheets in your kit, plenty to make more, 2 or more of your book. So I went ahead and I added the 1/4 inch tape to the back. Like I said, when creating the book, you're gonna wanna use a strong adhesive because it's not just a card, it's something that people are gonna wanna open up and read and save. So you wanna make sure you have a nice permanent adhesive. Center my piece, just like that. And now I can go ahead and add my awesome glitter accent stenciled background. So I'm gonna take my Tear-ific tape off of this, and this is a 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So my background piece here is 4 by 4, and then this is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. All right, so I am going to layer that, center it, and your Tear-ific tape is really sticky, so you wanna make sure it's where you want it before you stick it down. And this is going to be my front cover, and then you're just gonna repeat this exactly for the back cover if that's how you would like your back cover to look. Now I've also got, once I cut all my 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 pieces to go inside of my book, I have a couple of scraps left over. So I am going to take another piece here and I'm gonna layer it. I'm gonna add a little bit of my Tear-ific tape to make a nice little border on the top and the bottom. So I'm gonna stick my Tear-ific tape here, and I'm gonna stick my Tear-ific tape on the top, trim off my edges, and now I've got a cool blue border. Stick that right there. Trim my edges. And this scrap piece here is 3 1/4 by 2 1/4. So it is a fun size to layer on top and then to add whatever words that we're gonna pick to put on top of the front cover of our book. I'm gonna add the Loyalty. So really simple way to just add a quick strip of glitter. I'm gonna take my glitter resist brush, very important, must have if you're working with ultrafine and microfine glitters. You're gonna wanna burnish that into the tape and wipe that away. And there you have it. A nice little piece to layer on the front of our book. Okay, so next, this is the fun part, because this is when you get to get your creative juices flowing. You can decide between, you've got the sticker sheet here, which has a lot of fun little things that I'm going to be incorporating into my book, but this is individual preference. So you've got to decide who it's going for, what the occasion is, and what you would like it to say. You also have 2 of these sheets, and the name is Astronomy. And you've got that beautiful dark blue background, but you also have all of these fun things that you can go ahead and add to the front of the book, your book. So I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to use I think I'm gonna do for a Shoot for the Moon, Darling, and I'm simply gonna cut it out. So you can fussy cut it, or you can also use one of your circle dies and trim that and run it through your die cut machine. I am just gonna go ahead and fussy cut. So I am first just going to trim out my circle here, just like that. And I'm gonna fussy cut. There's nothing more exciting than watching someone fussy cut, just like that. Almost done. Cutting, cutting, cutting. It's so fun. Okay, so now I've got my Shoot for the Moon, Darling. And I'm gonna layer up my pieces here. I'm gonna do my moon, I think just like that. And that is going to be fun. So I'm gonna add a little bit of my Tear-ific tape to the back of this. You can also use glue dots. Especially whenever you're putting something, when you're trying to adhere something to a glitter background. If you want to add a little extra adhesive, like a super sticky glue dot, I highly recommend that. I'm going to take 2 strips of my 3/4 inch tape. You can also use your 1/4 inch, and I'm going to lay that down right there. All right. And then I'm going to adhere this, and then we're going to add some of our crystal drops. I'm going to do this. And you know what? I'm going to we've got a couple little stars over here on my sticker sheet. I'm going to pop those guys off just like that. And maybe do one there and one here. So now I've got a nice little background, and then I'm going to add a couple more pop dots to the back of my Shoot for the Stars. 1 and 2 foam squares. We're going to layer that here. Whoops, it helps if you put it in the right spot. There we go. Layer that right there. Just like that. And then, I'm not going to do it this second, but then you can go ahead and take your jewel drops and you can accent some fun things to highlight. For instance, I could do a couple on my moon, a couple here, but that would be the last thing that I'm gonna do for that to sit and dry. Oh, I have some dry ones already, so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So cool thing with crystal drops and your craft mat is you can always pre-make some by just squeezing them out onto your craft mat. So at least now you can see what that would look like with your crystal drops. Isn't that fun? I just love it. Okay, so we are just gonna do a couple more assembly things so you see how the whole book is laid out. I am going to put my back tassel in, and I want it to be the same size, so I'm gonna trim it just a little bit and in through the hole, tape that down. I am very excited to be gifting this to a friend. So tape that down just like that. And then remember, you're gonna come back with your Milky Way 4x4. Trim off your Tear-ific tape. Layer that down, and now we have our both ends completed. Our front and back covers. I'm gonna take my, it is. Other stenciled piece for the back cover. Peel off my Tear-ific tape. Oh my God. This is going to be awesome. Peel that off. And there we go. Center that. So now front cover, back cover complete. These are the perfect little size to just do a quick little tie to close your book and have your little tassels hang. And now I'm gonna go through and give you a couple fun hints for the inside. But like I said, this is when your creativity can go crazy and you can have fun and do whatever makes you happy. Lots of layering. You can do some misting with some mixed media. I went ahead on all of my triangles here and I did, just to add a little extra fun, I did some stripes. That is not long enough. And I did all 4 different on my book. So we're gonna do that. Trim off your edges. You've got to trim off your edges here instead of fold them over, because if you don't, you're gonna see your edges. So there's 1. And there's 2. There we go. Okay, so that was my recommendation for the bottom of these, and I did them all different. 1 stripe, 2 stripes, a big stripe, a small stripe. So have fun with that. Next, I'm going to show you how I did the inside, and I did something different for all of them. So you know how I took that piece and I put my remainder from stenciling on so long ago in the beginning of this video. I'm going to peel off the Tear-ific tape here and then just simply layer that for the inside of my book. Voila. And I want to pick something really cool for this first one. So I am going to do, I'm going to do You Only Live Once. So once again, I just popped that up from my sticker. And I am going to layer that here on my piece of background paper. I'm going to take a little washi tape and do a nice decorative edge. You can also use your, you know, if you wanted to do your Tear-ific tape and some glitter, you can do that. Trim the edges there. Take the tape off your fingers. And 1 and 2. And then I'm just going to add a little Tear-ific tape to that and set that inside of my book. So I'm going to add little messages using the stickers or that extra page that you received to complete my book. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration. And then, like I said, you get to take the reins and finish it up. But you saw how I did the whole book. You're just gonna add another piece over here to finish up that look. So I'm gonna take another piece of decorative cardstock, and this is a 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm gonna remove the backing and place that right in there so you could see we just did a full complete page. So you have one full section completed so you can see how that is done. So if you want to, you can let that, before you adhere this in, if you wanted to add some of your crystal drops in there, you can do that. This is using your light paper makes it so you can actually leave notes, which will be really fun through your book. And there is everything. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had really a great time designing this, something totally different. And thank you once again for your patience since we had a couple product hiccups.